Elizabeth Herring, now Warren, was born on June 22, 1949 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Herring then moved to Norman, Oklahoma, where her father, Donald Herring, got a job as a maintenance worker, and her mother, Pauline. Elizabeth's father suffered a heart attack when she was just 12 years old. Elizabeth and her family almost lost everything, her car, and almost lost their house. Her mom, Pauline, struggled to get a job, but finally got one at Sears and saved their family. Elizabeth was still forced to get a job as a waitress at the age of 13. Elizabeth Warren had 3 older brothers. All 3 of her brothers were active in the military at some point. The oldest one found a career in the Air Force. The middle one found one in construction, and the youngest found one in business. As Amelia grew up, Warren enrolled in an inexpensive public law school. She graduated soon after and gave birth to her second child, Alexander Warren. Warren practiced law out of her living room, but also returned to teaching. Warren taught law at Rutgers University for over 30 years after her husband, Jim Warren, moved jobs. Elizabeth and Jim divorced in 1978, but happiness was just around the corner for her. She married her current husband, Bruce Mann, 2 years later and have been married for 38 years. After teaching, Warren joined the politics realm and is currently the Senator of Massachusetts. Other notable career choices was she was a chair for a congressional oversight committee that assisted for troubled relief programs for several years. Warren continues her active fight to win the 2020 presidency. She is widely credited for her original thinking, political courage, and relentless persistence that led to the creation of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which she helped stand up and has successfully protected millions of consumers from financial tricks and traps, often hidden in mortgages, credit cards, and other financial products. As a law professor for more than 30 years, Elizabeth has taught courses on commercial law, contracts, and bankruptcy. She has written more than 100 articles and 11 books, including the national bestseller This Fight is Our Fight, A Fighting Chance, The Two-Income Trap, and All You're Worth.
As you know, Elizabeth Warren is running for president 2020, and many people believe that she's unqualified, although Elizabeth has no shortage of political experience. From the year 2008 to the year 2010, Elizabeth serves as the Congressional Oversight Panel for the Troubled Asset Relief Program, also known as TARP. With her role, Elizabeth helped to stabilize the country's financial system, restore economic growth, and mitigate foreclosures. Alongside that, she gave loans to small businesses, saved taxpayers millions, and even told the Associated Press in 2008 that she wouldn't buy a winter coat without a spending plan. When TARP disbanded in 2010, Elizabeth was in full support of releasing the records of TARP to the public. Not many other presidential candidates who are willing to be as transparent as Elizabeth is.
Okay.
What? After TARP finished its course and disbanded, President Barack Obama appointed Elizabeth as the Special Assistant to the President for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, aka the CFPB. She was appointed Special Assistant because the Republicans in Senate confirmed that they would not accept her confirmation into the Senate. In the year 2012, Elizabeth ran for Massachusetts State Senator against Republican candidate Scott Brown. Weeks after Elizabeth announced her running for state senator, a video of her went viral on the internet. This was her speech talking about how nobody in America got rich on their own. This speech went so viral that even Barack Obama referenced it in an election campaign speech. Elizabeth ran unopposed as a Democratic nomination on June 2nd, 2012. She won and became Massachusetts State Senator. At the state Democratic convention, she earned a record of 95.77% of the votes of the delegates. Elizabeth Warren's so qualified. From being completely transparent about records being available to the public to leading TARP to help save taxpayers money, Elizabeth Warren is qualified enough to be your best choice for president in the year 2020.
Elizabeth Warren has support from many different interest groups that contribute money to her campaign. Interest groups vary from Women Issues to Alphabet Incorporation. They all increase her popularity amongst people and increase money available for her campaign. Let's talk about it. WomenCount is one of Warren's top contributors. In total, they have contributed around $110,512 to Warren's campaign. The goal of this PAC is to get more Democratic women elected into office. Given that Warren is a female Democratic candidate, she has been getting a lot of contributions from WomenCount to help her with her campaign. Similar to Women's Count, Emily's List has also helped carry Democratic women into office. The help from Women Count, Emily's List, and other female activist interest groups gives financial support to candidates like Elizabeth Warren. Emily's List has contributed the maximum amount of money PASS can contribute to a candidate, which is $5,000. Policies proposed by Warren, such as abortion laws and other women's rights, gain support from these types of interest groups. One of Warren's popular platforms is trying to eliminate student loans and to get free public education. She wants to treat higher education just like public schools, so free education is accessible for all Americans. She has Harvard University, University of California, and Stanford University organizations that are backing her up on her ideas for the future. Harvard alone has contributed $112,180. Stanford contributed $43,225. The benefit of having many different interest groups donating money and creating issue ads is to show what Elizabeth is trying to pursue as president. For example, having many schools and educational interest groups supporting her tells the public that she's all for changing the way our public school system works in America. And having many women's rights interest groups supports her encouragement for women to vote another woman so their rights aren't pushed aside. Elizabeth is ready to change America for the better, and with the help from interest groups, she shouldn't have a problem doing so. By April 10th, 2019, Warren's presidential campaign raised approximately $6 million. The average amount contributed to her campaign is $28. Over 135,000 have contributed to her campaign thus far.
Warren's policies are based on the premise of equality, equity, and democracy. Her own privilege is not taken for granted, and Warren seeks to give disadvantaged groups the rights and opportunities they are entitled to. All of the following policies addressed are ones proposed passionately by Warren and collectively make up her platform. Warren's personal experience in a family living paycheck to paycheck motivated her to devise policies that would assist those occupying lower classes in the economy. The middle class, which was formerly strong and stable, is now suffering due to the hoard of wealth by elitists in the economy. Warren plans to impose taxes on the super wealthy, households with a net worth above $50 million, and increase taxes on corporations to cut Trump's recent cut. These cuts would fund programs to diminish the expenses of American citizens, such as health care and college debt. Warren also plans to strengthen the democracy. She will work to establish a constitutional-based law that protects the right of every citizen to be involved in democratic processes. Any legislation that bars people of color from voting or exercising rights given to them by the Constitution must be abolished entirely. She is passionate about enforcing that politicians cannot get away with imposing rules that prevent anyone from having an influence in policymaking or candidate selection. Additionally, donations from corporations, PACs, and super PACs will also be limited to stop politicians from solely appealing to those who are capable of supplying the big bucks. Foreign influence on elections will also be approached as the issue that it is. Warren acknowledges that the flaws of our democracy must be tackled on both the domestic and foreign level. More specifically, Warren focuses on the right to choice. She will establish a law that could not be interfered with by any court at the state or local level. She believes that women deserve the right to choose the path they desire regarding reproduction. Warren will also work to enforce equal justice under law. Currently, the disparity of decriminalization between blacks and whites at both the federal and local level is unacceptable. Warren will aim to lessen the charges against certain drug possessions so that police forces cannot continue to target people of minorities. All people, regardless of wealth, race, or status, must be charged equally for the same crimes and held accountable for their actions when they come in question with the law. Warren will work to promote this idea. Elizabeth Warren is the most thorough and prepared candidate for the presidency. As your president, she will be the voice of all people, including those whose voices haven't been heard in politics. Warren will strengthen the democracy by working to abolish any legislation that bars people of color from voting or exercising rights rightfully delegated to them by the Constitution. Under her administration, an amendment will be developed to provide all people an equal right to political participation.
My vote is with Elizabeth Warren because I support a president who will rebuild the middle class. I want my voice to be heard.
My vote is for Elizabeth Warren in support of her plan to fund universal child care and Medicare for all.
And I support her plan to raise taxes on corporations and wealthy individuals.
Warren plans to boost the lower to middle class within the economy, give women the rights they deserve in regards to reproduction, and work to enforce equal justice under law. For a president with a plan and a stand on all progressive issues, Elizabeth Warren is the right choice.